When I'm not thanking Apple Maps for rerouting me through the most dangerous parts of Los Angeles to save 1 minute off my trip destination, I like to answer questions that I get on YouTube, so let's get to it. I've learned more about chords watching this video than any other video. I've also gone cross-eyed and have a headache. How do you recommend learning chords? Pick one key and learn all of it? Learn the majors, learn the minors? So yes, learning chords can be kind of confusing, it can be overwhelming, all the different types of chords. Basically, I think the best way to do it, break it down into just the two types, major and minor, and then see them all as part of a key that works together, okay? So again, that can be confusing too because it's like, all right, well, which key do you pick? So this is going to be kind of a different way than I've ever taught it before, but it kind of ties into a 3-note per string method that I've been talking about before. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take 6 notes in the key of G, the first 6 notes, okay? So the 3rd fret on the low E string is a G. And then if we think of all of these notes becoming a chord, we'll get there in a second, but let's just look at the pattern first. So we have the 3rd fret, the 5th fret, and the 7th fret on the low E string, and then the same thing on the A string, okay? So this is really the first 6 notes of the G major scale. G, A, B, C, D, E. Eventually we get to F sharp, the 4th fret on the D string, and back to G. But again, using this really symmetrical type thing where it's just 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7, we have a root note, the root note of the key, 2 frets higher, 2 frets higher, a whole step, and then start straight down a string, 3rd fret on the A string, this is a C, a whole step, a whole step. Now, no matter what key you're in, this just happens to be the key of G, we can turn any of these notes into chords that populate a song, really any song that you could ever play. We could do any key. We could start with A, and then we just go 5, 7, 9, 5, 7, 9. Okay? So that's a good way to locate the 6 notes that will become the 6 main chords in any key and start to see them all working together. Okay? Now to kind of get more of a chord sound, we could turn each of these into power chords, right? So the 3rd fret on the E string and the 5th fret on the A string with your ring finger or your pinky makes this a G power chord, or the 3rd fret on the E string's power chord. So now instead of it sounding like a scale, it sounds a little bit more like usable, movable chords in a song. And again, you can do that with any single key just by taking that kind of symmetrical shape, all right? Now, the next thing to do is to know where the major and the minors go, all right? So the most important piece of information you could ever have as a beginner, something that I wish I would have learned earlier, was that the 1st, 4th, and 5th notes of a key are the major chords, the 2nd, 3rd, and 6th notes are minor chords. So, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Of those 6 notes or numbers, 1, 4, and 5 become major chords. Now, again, using all open chords, it's like, all right, well, now I gotta know this, this, and this. But to kind of simplify that process at first, before we get into more of like the movable bar chord shapes, which we can do in another video, I've done in other videos, let's just take what separates these chords from being major or minor, and that's its 3rd. Okay, so even if you don't know anything about 3rds or 4ths or anything like that, just know that a major chord will begin with a root note, and then its major 3rd, which in this example is always going to be down a string, back a fret. So this is the beginning of a G major chord, but if we just play these, this is representative of a major chord, okay? Now the only difference between major and minor is this note being here or here, a flat 3. Okay, so if you go down a string and back a fret, that's a major chord. If you go down a string and back 2 frets, that's a minor chord, or the beginnings of a minor chord, a representation of a minor chord. So, we have 6 notes. Each of those can become power chords. Now, power chord isn't major or minor, it just sounds okay. We could also take these and make them representative of major and minor chords just by using these kind of 2-note versions of them, okay? So on the 3rd fret, now I have 3E and 2A. That's my major representative of that first chord. 5th fret of the E string, 3rd fret of the A string. That's a minor representative of what would be an A minor chord. I can move this shape to the 7th fret, and that would be B minor. On the 3rd fret of the A string, I get a C major, so I use the major shape here. The 5th note in this key is a D. there's a major chord, and then 6 is going to be minor again. So, again, it's kind of just an interesting way to do it. You can do it in any single key. Here's A again. We have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor. Do it on the 9th fret. No one even knows what the name of the 9th fret is. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, so on and so forth. So I think that's just a good way to kind of maybe, if you're a beginner and you're thinking about just doing different chord progressions, how to start learning all these chords in a key. Track these root notes in a very symmetrical way that you can do anywhere, and then just start slowly but surely turning them from notes into power chords, into maybe these 2-note representations of chords, and then get into like the maybe 7th chords or different chord voicings later on. I've never been to NAMM. What did you not like? So last week I was at NAMM in Anaheim. It is simultaneously an excellent experience and a terrible experience. It's great because you get to see everybody, kind of like a lot of people in the industry, connect with brands and stuff like that, meet some people that follow me on YouTube, which is awesome. Thank you for everybody who stopped and said hello. But it is really a hellscape, nightmare scenario in a lot of different ways, especially when you're there for like 3 or 4 days. They need to do something about the NAMM floor. Like, it is, like, legit dangerous. I feel like people have hearing damage because it is just way too loud, and I don't believe the facilities can actually handle having that much people. So, I don't know. I want to love NAMM. I love the idea of NAMM, but when you're there, and you're there for, like, days, it is absolutely brutal. So there's no way that you can actually film video. I was going to do a NAMM vlog. There will be a NAMM vlog coming very soon, but it isn't going to be the one that I anticipated on making, but it is going to be pretty interesting, so look forward to that, because there's absolutely no way to try to film a video on the NAMM floor. It's just not going to happen. There's no technology that exists, and it's kind of disappointing that, like, alright, here, I'll give you a story. Here's the thing that summarizes NAMM the best. For some reason, someone brought their child to NAMM, like their 4-year-old child, and it was one of those things where, like, the parent had, like, the child on a leash, which is funny in and of itself, but I can kind of understand. But what I don't understand is why you would bring your child to NAMM. You bring a 4-year-old to NAMM, right in the nexus of, like, the underworld and just pure hell, is where the horn section meets the percussion section. So there are people who are just literally, like, not even just hitting a snare as hard as they can. They're doing rim shots because they're trying to win the noise of NAMM. And it's the dumbest thing in the world. So there's this child who, in the middle of a busy floor, just decided that his journey was over. He just pulled the plug. He laid down on the ground, wasn't crying, wasn't in any discomfort. He was just lying motionless on the ground, just looking up at the ceiling. His mother had him on a leash, and she was just defeated. And she was just standing there holding the leash while the child was not crying on the floor. And everyone just kind of walked around him. And that is basically NAMM in a nutshell. So hopefully they can do something about the noise, or maybe limit the amount of people that are allowed in there at one time, because it's really kind of miserable for a lot of people. But again, I do think it has such an awesome opportunity to be great. But that is just kind of my experience with NAMM. Vlog coming soon. I'm so high. This is the best thing I've ever watched. Well, thank you very much. This is in response to my career change, really pressing hard to become a soap opera star. And the other day I posted a video with my dude Samurai and my girl Yasmin helping me run lines. So if you missed that, make sure to check it out, because you can see me flex some of my muscles that I'll be using in my next career. But don't worry, I will always continue to do YouTube. This will merely be a supplement, kind of breaking into another stratosphere of fame. So thank you for all of your continued support. Make sure to check that video out. You sound like a freaking weird Italian Mario when you emphasize the end of your words. It's weird. Wouldn't all Marios be Italian Marios? Why is every guitar tutorial on here made by a major douchebag? Also, the answer to bar chords is called your thumb. Stop acting like that's not a thing, and it's more efficient in every way. So, the answer to bar chords being your thumb, does that mean you bar them with your thumb? Is he saying You're trying to, like, I don't even know. I mean, yeah, you have to use your thumb for most things that you do on guitar. I guess I don't remember saying otherwise, but yeah, could you be a little more specific next time, please? Razzmatazz, nice word, describes it perfectly. So, in 2020, I've decided to use the word razzmatazz to describe vibrato. Vibrato is way too classy of a word for guitar players to use, so razzmatazz it is. This is also on a video that I titled How to Add Some Spunk to Your Guitar Playing, a shortening of the adjective spunky, which is a word that I've always used my entire life and had no idea there was another meaning of it. So thank you to the hundreds of comments that poured in from around the world about how to add some spunk to your guitar playing and informing me that there is an alternative definition of the word. I swear to God, I had no idea that that was actually a thing. Some people are like, oh, you're just coy and you're trying to be funny. Had absolutely no idea. So thank you for educating me. BB is pretty awesome. Yes, Banana Blondie, who was nice enough to allow me to tell her the story of the time I worked at Victoria's Secret the other day. Make sure you check that video out if you missed it. Is our absolute queen. So definitely go show Banana Blondie some support because she's one of the coolest people I've ever met. So I'll link you in the description. But yeah, total boss. You make it difficult. There's something about this one that's like, it's not even salty. It almost just kind of hurts because it's so succinct. You make it difficult. Like, he can't even like explain why. But I just failed him, and that one I actually kind of, I feel for the guy, so I'm sorry. Alright, so one thing I do have to address, the Kobe Bryant thing. A lot of you people may know, basketball is, and forever will be, my number one passion in life. Still way better at basketball than I am at music, any other skill in my entire life. The Kobe thing just wrecked me. Absolutely wrecked me. I was in LA when I found out about it. I was shocked by how shook I was. Now, when it comes to like people who I've never met passing, I'm usually never fazed at all. Almost to like kind of a scary amount is my disattachment to anything. Even musically, because you know, Lord knows we've lost a lot of like great musicians, you know, in years gone by. Elliott Smith, who is like my all-time favorite musician, when he died, it ruined my day, which is like a lot for me considering the emotional detachment, right? So that was like the worst one of anything that I felt till then. But then hearing about Kobe, man, like that really was reality bending in every single way. Like I grew up with Kobe Bryant. So much of my game is like just patterned after Kobe and like just like such a cerebral player, and like going from loving him when he first came to the league, I was like the first dude. I was like a sophomore in high school. I had like the number 8 Lakers jersey, and then like growing to kind of like not like Kobe because of the way he played is kind of like fundamentally different than the way I played, and then growing to like love the redemption of Kobe Bryant. Like Kobe Bryant was really, I've learned more from, I can safely say I've learned more from Kobe just watching Kobe and like his cerebral approach to the game and patterning everything that he does offensively into my own thing that I'm trying to do. He's been like my number one teacher over the years, and even like to this day, I only wear Kobe's. Like, I'm not really a sneakerhead, but like the Kobe's are just like, that's my brand, that's my shoe. And I think it's like the one thing that, or one of the few things that ever since I was a kid that like, you know, that enthusiasm that you have for things, like when you get a new pair of shoes or something, like, you know, you become a jaded adult and a lot of things change. But like getting the new Kobe's every year was like one thing that kind of just like stuck with me through the whole thing. So, man, yeah, absolutely devastated by the Kobe Bryant news, and it just goes to show that, you know, you just gotta appreciate people, and like a lot of people are saying, like their thing is like you just find like your friends and your family and you just tell them you love them because you just never know. So you know, I don't want to go on into it too long, but yeah, Kobe was I definitely kind of considered him like a teacher of mine in a lot of ways, and it's almost like people in like the basketball community, and I think if any of you people are out there, even if you're not, you might be able to attest to this, like it really feels like we lost like a brother, like a family member. And I've been fortunate enough that I've never lost anyone suddenly. And yeah, totally mind altering. But again, love the dude. The Mamba mentality is something that like I laughed at first, but then like the more that like you kind of see what he was doing, he was like really just trying to like inspire people across all disciplines to just like work hard. So everything that dude stood for later in life, I'm a huge supportive of, huge fan of, and we're gonna miss him, man. On a happier note, listening homework, I'm gonna throw you to Hiatus Kaiyote, which I have mentioned them before on the channel, but this track is just flat out nasty. Again, a lot of the stuff, being able to talk with a bunch of cool musicians and stuff in NAMM and Los Angeles, a lot of the talk were some of the greatest albums of the last decade. And the one that I always come back to is Hiatus Kaiyote, Choose Your Weapon. I think is like some of the most musically dense. It's the most musically dense album that I've heard in the last 10 years. So people, if you have anything that you think is more musically dense, and what I say by that is like, there's just so much going on that every time I listen to that album, I feel like I hear something new. So I guess if you want to call this neo soul funk, I don't even know what the genre is, but if you've never done it, check it out because I think you might like it. And then as always, if you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.